Hello, Class 6. Hope you all are fine and you had enjoyed your festival season to the full. Now, I welcome you to the Unit 9 of your book, Gulmohar. The name of the chapter is Dusk. And children, what happens if somebody befools you and you're seriously relying on that person and that person is befooling you? So, how do you feel? Isn't it ridiculous? Right. Okay, children, now coming on to The Dusk. This is written by H. Munro, and he was a Scottish journalist and a writer too. His pen name was Saki, and he was known for writing witty stories. Witty क्या होता है जिसमें थोड़ा सा fun होता है, थोड़ी सी you have cleverness and fun, which were set in the early 20th century and poked fun at society. So his stories used to poke fun at society, means society का थोड़ा सा मजाक उड़ाते हुए. And then he was considered a master of the short stories. Stories उसकी छोटी छोटी होती थी, but they were very good ones. So let's have a look on it. This story. Actually, beta, the name of the story is Dusk. And I hope everybody knows what dusk is. Children, dusk is, I would like to tell you, even though you all know, children, dusk is the time when the sun is setting and it is becoming dark, and it is becoming darker and darker and darker, and it is followed by night. So the story begins here. Norman goes by, sat on a park bench on an early March evening. So early March means close to end of the February and maybe the first week of March. That is the time when sun sets around 6 or 6:30 p.m. Then it was the evening of early March, and Norman Gotsby was sitting on a park on a bench. It was 30 minutes past 6. I told you, then it starts getting dark at 6 or 6:30. So it was 30 minutes past 6 and dusk had fallen heavily, means it has grown dark. The roads and sidewalks wore a look of emptiness, occupied by silent figures that moved through the half light or sat quietly on chairs and benches. So they melted into the shadows in which they sat. Means the roads and sidewalks were a look of emptiness, means people had started going home and the roads were becoming empty because it is cold also and getting dark also. So that is why the people have started going to their homes, occupied only by silent figures that moved through the half light or sat quietly on chairs and benches. Means only a few people were moving around and some were sitting quietly on chairs and benches so that they melted into the shadows. And these people, they are just sitting on the benches and they are just negligible. They could not see them. They were sitting quietly on the benches or somewhere and one could not see them. So dusk, to Godspy's mind, was the hour of the defeated. Means this was the dusk was the time, according to Godspy, it was the time of the fought and lost in life's battle. Means it was the time of the defeated ones. Defeated ones means who were not you can say the people who are roaming on the road because they are not liked by the people at their home, and some people who are just simply roaming outside, you know? Means they are the defeated ones. He sympathized with them means because the people are poor, they are defeated. Defeated means zindagi se hare hue log, right? So he sympathized with them, men and women who fought and lost in life's battle, who came forth in the gloomy hour of dusk. See, this is the he thought that this is the hour of the people who fought and lost in life's battle. Life's battle means who could not earn much. This means about the poor people when their shabby clothes and unhappy eyes might pass unnoticed. Means with their dirty clothes, the people are sitting around, and you might have seen that poor people sitting on the footpaths and just spending their nights in the parks and footpaths. They don't have it means the homeless people, the poor people. This is the time of those people. Only those people they are left on the roads. This is the story of 20th centuries, right? And just beyond, on the other side of where he sat, were the rows of windows from which shone bright lights that cut through the darkness of the evening, forcing it away. See, he there's a contrast about the rich people and the poor people. He thinks that the people, those who are sitting outside in this cold weather, the people those who are sitting outside by the roadside or in the park benches means they are poor, they don't have homes, that is why they're sitting here. And the people, there's a contrast on the other side, that there were the rows of windows, means windows from the rich people's houses. They are shining brightly, and their bright lights are coming from their windows that cut through the darkness of the evening. They don't know, they don't realize the darkness of the evening because they have lights at their homes, and they cut away the darkness of the evening, forcing it away. They force it away. They do not let the darkness of the evening come into their houses because they are having lights. They can lit the lights. They can lit their houses with the lights. To Goldsmith's mind, it seemed that these brilliant lights marked the abodes of those people who had never had to admit defeat through life's struggles. So, for Goldsmith, according to his view, it seemed that these brilliant lights, these are coming from the abodes, means homes, houses of the people who had never had to see any defeat in their life, who never had to struggle for life in their lives. Means they are the rich people. Thus did Goats my mind imagine these things as he sat on that bench in the near deserted sidewalk. So Goatsby was thinking about the this gap between the poor and the rich people, and where he was sitting in the on the bench in the near deserted sidewalk footpath ke side pe he was sitting on a bench. On the bench by his side sat an elderly gentleman with drooping shoulders. So, by his side, उसकी side पर एक elderly gentleman was sitting. An old man was sitting. He was a gentleman. His shoulders were drooping, means he was aged person. But there was a certain daring in his face. His clothes were not shabby, but one would not expect him to wear a carnation in his buttonhole. Means he seemed to be a gentleman from a good family, belonging to a good family, but not his clothes were not shabby clothes. उसके गंदे नहीं थे. He was not a poor person. He was a good. He was having a good position in his society, or he was a good looking person. But he could not have a carnation in his buttonhole. मतलब इतना भी rich नहीं था कि you can compare him to a prince. As he rose to go, Goatsby imagined him returning to a home circle where nobody cared for him. So when this person, this old man, he got up to go, Goatsby was imagining. It was just his imagination that this person was returning to a home circle, वैसे घर में जा रहा था, where nobody cared for him, nobody wanted him. He got up and walked away. His figure vanished slowly into the shadows. His place on the bench was soon taken by a young man, fairly well dressed, but with a sour look on his face. He uttered an angry grunt as he flung himself into the seat. So, what happened when this man started moving? Gradually, he vanished into the shadows or into the darkness. And soon his place was taken by a young man. Soon usi bench par a young man came to sit. And he was fairly well dressed, but with a sour look on his face. Means the person was angry. The young man who was fairly dressed, he was looking angry. And he uttered an angry grunt as he flung himself into the seat. While he was sitting on the seat, he was uttering some angry words. कुछ angry words वो बोल रहा था. You don't seem to be in a good temper, said Goatspy. So Goatspy went near him and he asked him that you don't seem to be happy. You seem to be angry. Why? The young man turned to him and said, you wouldn't be in a good temper if you are in a fix I'm in. I've done the silliest thing ever in my life. The young man said that कि one would never be in a good temper. किसी का भी अच्छा मूड नहीं होगा if you are in such a fix I am in. या किसी का भी ऐसा अच्छा मूड नहीं होगा जो भी मेरी तरह फंसा हुआ होगा. मीन्स कैसे फंसा हुआ होगा? I've done the silliest thing in my life. मैंने अपनी जिंदगी में सबसे मीन्स silliest you can understand कि बुद्धू वाला काम मैंने किया है आज. So, what have you done? Asked Goatspy. Came up to London this afternoon. I thought of staying at the Patagonian Hotel in Berkshire Square, said the young man. So he said that I have come to London. Means the story is about London. It is in London. So he said that I have come to London this afternoon only. And I thought of staying at the Patagonian Hotel in Berkshire Square. He said that I had planned to stay at Patagonian Hotel in Berkshire Square. इस होटल में मुझे रुकने का प्लान था. But why was he angry then? You must be wondering why was he angry. Coming on to the next page. When I got there, I found that it had been pulled down. In the place of the hotel, a cinema theatre had come up. When I got there, I found that it had been pulled down. जब मैं आया वहां पर मुझे पता चला कि वो तो pull down means it has been destroyed. In the place of the hotel, a cinema theatre had come up. उसकी जगह पर एक cinema theatre बन चुका है. The taxi driver took me to another hotel some way off, where I could stay. Now the taxi driver took me to another hotel. I at once sent a letter to my people giving them the address. और वहां पर पहुंचकर मैंने लेटर भेजा अपने people को जिनको मुझसे मिलने आना था कि I am at this address. You may come to me here. Then I went out to buy some soap. I had forgotten to pack any and I hate using hotel soap. So he said that. After that, I went out to buy some soap. Why he went out to buy some soap? Two reasons are there. One is he forgot to pack one soap for himself. And second thing, first thing, he hated using hotel soap. And he had also forgotten to pack one for himself when he was coming from home. Then I strolled up a bit, had a drink at a bar and looked at the shops. He said that. उसके बाद में बाहर आया जब मैंने एक soap खरीदा and then I strolled a bit. Means मैं थोड़ा सा इधर उधर टहला and then I had a drink at a bar and then looked at the shops. उसके बाद में shops को देखता देखता I kept on strolling. When I turned my steps back to the hotel, I suddenly realized that I didn't remember the name of the hotel or even what street it was in. He said that जब मैं वापस चलने लगा होटल की तरफ, suddenly मुझे ये रियलाइज हुआ कि आई डोंट रिमेम्बर द नेम ऑफ द होटल, मुझे होटल का नेम भी नहीं पता है और मुझे ये भी नहीं पता कि किस स्ट्रीट में है. इवन आई हैव नो फ्रेंड्स इन लंदन. लंदन में मेरे कोई फ्रेंड्स भी नहीं है, मैं पूछूं किससे? I can write to my people for the address, but they will get my letter only tomorrow. He said that I can ask my friends also by writing, but letter तो उनको कल मिलेगा, फिर ही वो मुझे बताएंगे ना. So, I'll tomorrow they will get the letter. Then I will again write a letter to them. Then they will send me the letter. ऐसे तो 3 to 4 days निकल जाएंगे. How would I come to know about where I have to go? Meantime, I'm without any money. बोला कि मेरे पास पैसे भी नहीं है. I came out with a shilling in my pocket, which went in buying the soap and the drink. I was just carrying a shilling in my pocket when I came out from the hotel. I just carried 1 shilling in my pocket because I just had to buy a soap. And then it was spent buying a soap and having the drink. Here I am, wandering about with two pence in my pocket and nowhere to go for the night. He said that, और अब मेरी pocket में सिर्फ 2 pence बचे हैं, 2 pennies हैं, and I have no place to go for the night. Now the story was followed by a long, eloquent pause. I suppose you think I have spun you an impossible yarn, he said. अब इसके बाद वो एकदम से चुप हो जाता है, काफ़ी देर के लिए चुप रहता है और फिर बोलता है कि मुझे लगता है कि आपको लग रहा है कि I am just telling you an unbelievable story, a false story. Not at all impossible, said Goatsby. I remember doing a similar thing in a foreign capital. So Goatsby बोला नहीं 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 impossible नहीं है कि when I remember similar thing happened to me when I was in a foreign capital. चलो. Then, but on that occasion there were two of us. We remembered luckily that the hotel was on a smaller canal. After some search, when we found the canal, we found the hotel. बोला कि जब the same incident happened with me, luckily we were two people. And we remembered, luckily, that our hotel was near a smaller canal. And after search, we came to find the canal and we found the hotel also. So he was just asking him, do you know any landmark near your hotel? But he was he was not answerable. In a foreign city, it wouldn't be difficult. I could go to the consul and get help from him. Here, unless I find a decent chap who would believe my story and lend me some money, I'll have to spend the night perhaps on the embankment. बोला कि फॉरेन सिटी में कोई बात नहीं, मुश्किल नहीं है ये, मैं कौंसल पर भी जा सकता हूँ, यहाँ कर किसी ऑफिशियल के भी पास भी जा सकता हूँ, गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल के पास भी जा सकता हूँ, कौंसल इज द गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल, and get help from me. But at this time, at this moment, nobody will be able to help me. Even I am without money. I'll have to search for a man who would believe me and give me some money. तो और रात को तो मुझे I'll have to stay at embankments only, an area. Embankment is an area in London on the bank of the river Thames. River Thames के साइड पर ही मुझे रात बितानी पड़ेगी, because I don't have any money. Have you got the soap with you? Goatsby asked. So Goatsby ने अचानक से पूछा. He was clever, he was smart. So he asked him, do you have the soap with you? The young man at once sat forward, felt rapidly in the pockets of the overcoat, and then jumped to his feet. I must have lost it, he muttered angrily. Young man ने एकदम से आगे हुआ और अपनी pockets में check करने लगा. So, and then he jumped to his feet. And he said, oh, I think I've lost it. Goatsby said, the weak point in your story is that you are unable to produce a soap. वो कहता, तुम्हारी स्टोरी में सबसे वीक पॉइंट यही है कि तुम्हारे पास तो सोप ही नहीं है. It means you are a false person. You're not genuine. To lose a hotel and a cake of soap on one afternoon suggests willful carelessness. So he said that कि होटल भी भूल जाना और सोप भी खो देना, it means you are a pretty careless person. When the young man heard this remark, he hurried away from the path, his head held high. सो जब यंग मैन को पता चला इस रिमार्क के बारे में, जब उसको लगा कि मुझे तो इसने केयरलेस कह दिया, वो वहां से भाग लिया. क्यों भागा? We don't know. Now, coming on to the next page. It was a pity, Goldspy thought with a smile. The going to get one's own soap was the one convincing touch in the whole story. And yet it was just that little detail which didn't help him. Okay, that it was a pity. Goldspy ने सोचा कि the going to get one's own soap, अब अपना soap ढूंढने के लिए this person is going. And this detail, this a little detail which he gave, it didn't help him. इसने उसकी हेल्प ही नहीं की. मीन्स जो उसने बहाना बनाया ये तो गलत हो गया. If he had been clever enough to provide himself with a cake of soap wrapped and sealed at the chemist's counter, he would have been a genius in his profession. तो मुझे लगा कि अगर मीन्स हर चोर कोई ना कोई क्लू तो छोड़ ही देता है ना. तो he said कि if this person had carried a soap with him, स्टोरी बनाने से पहले अगर अपने पास एक सोप रख लेता, ब्रांड न्यू सोप, सील्ड सोप रख लेता, तो he would have been a genius in his profession. वो जीनियस ही हो जाता. Okay, with this thought, Goldspy got up to go. As he did so, he let out an exclamation of surprise and sympathy. जैसे ही वो उठने लगा, उसके माइंड में एकदम से सिंपथी आ गई और एक सरप्राइज, एकदम हैरान हुआ और सिंपथी सी आ गई इस पर्सन के लिए. Why? Lying on the ground under the bench was a small oval packet wrapped and sealed. It was a cake of soap. It must have fallen out of the young man's overcoat pocket when he flung himself down on the seat. अब जैसे वो उठने लगा, उसको बेंच के नीचे क्या मिला? A cake of soap. It was brand new. It was sealed. And now he thought that it must have fallen down of the young man's overcoat. उसके overcoat में से गिर गया होगा ही. The next moment, Goldspy was running along the dusk-covered path in anxious search for the youthful figure in light-covered overcoat. अब वो फिर एकदम से भागा उसको ढूंढने के लिए. He nearly gave up the search when he caught sight of him, standing on the border of the carriage drive. अब क्या है कि अभी वो सोच रहा था अब नहीं मिलेगा, तभी उसको एकदम से एक कैरियज ड्राइव मीन्स किसी टैक्सी के ऊपर वो चढ़ने लगा था, तो उसको मिल गया. Goldspy hailed him. Goldspy called him out. उसको आवाज लगाई उसने. The important witness to the truth of your story has turned up, said Goldspy, holding out the cake of soap. It must have slid out of your overcoat pocket as you sat down on the seat. I found it on the ground after you left. I didn't believe your story. You must excuse me for that. But the appearance of the soap changed everything, and now my doubts are gone. So उसको आवाज लगाता है और उसको बोलता है कि the important witness of your truth, of the truth of your story, तुम्हारी स्टोरी की सच्चाई का जो true witness था, I've got it. It must have fallen down from your pocket. तुम्हारी pocket से गिर गया होगा, and it was lying under the seat. And I found it there. First I didn't believe your story. मैं तुम्हारे पे विश्वास नहीं कर रहा था. But please excuse me for that. But the appearance of the soap changed everything, and now my doubts are gone. बोला कि इस soap की appearance मीन्स देखने में ये बिल्कुल brand new, it is sealed, wrapped, मीन्स जैसे अभी भी purchase किया हो, तो it has changed my mind. I'm sorry. If the loan of a sovereign is any good for you. तो वो बोला कि उसको एक अराउंड £1 का कॉइन देता है उसको, and he says कि if it helps you, मैं आपको ये देता हूँ. The young man took the coin and hastily pocketed it. अब young man ने फटाफट से coin ले लिया और अपनी pocket में डाल लिया. Here's my card with the address, continued Goldspy. Any day this week you can return the money, and here's the soap. Don't lose it again. It has been a good friend to you. Here's my card. So Goldspy उसको अपना card देता है कि take my card, and in this week you can return my money and take your soap. This is your good friend. Don't lose it again. Luckily you found it, said the young man, and blurting out a word or two of thanks, he fled. अब फटाफट से उसने बोला, लकीली तुम्हें ये तुम्हें मिल गया, लकीली। और फटाफट से थैंक्स का एक वर्ड बोलते हुए जल्दी जल्दी से ही फ्लेड अवे, फटाफट से भाग गया। पुअर बॉय, ही नियरली ब्रोक डाउन, सेड गोड्सपाई टू हिमसेल्फ। पुअर बॉय, उसको कहता है पुअर बॉय। ही नियरली collapsed, बेचारे को शर्म आ रही होगी और वो चला गया है। ओके। As Goatsby retraced his steps past the seat where the drama had taken place, he found an elderly gentleman poking the ground with his stick beneath the seat and realized that it was his earlier fellow occupant. See the twist in the story. See, जैसे ही गोट्सबाय वापस अपनी सीट पर जाता है on the bench, he noticed an elderly gentleman. उसने देखा कि एक बूढ़ा आदमी वहां पर आ रहा है, and he was searching something with his stick. And he realized that this person was the same old person जो इस young man के आने से पहले बैठा हुआ था और उठकर चला गया था. He was the same person, and he was searching for something with his stick. Goatsby asked him, "Have you lost anything, sir?" आपका कुछ खो गया है? What did he reply? The old man, he replied, "Yes, sir, a cake of soap." Means this cake of soap, it belonged to this old man and not that young person. So Goatsby was made foolish by that young person. उसको खुद भी नहीं समझ में आया होगा कि ये केक ऑफ सोप कहाँ से आ गया. Actually, the cake of soap belonged to the old man. Hope you, आपको अजीब सा लग रहा था. Hope you enjoyed the end of the story. It is really very funny. So here I bid you goodbye, children. And for exercise work, we'll be meeting in the class. Goodbye.